Hare Krishna. Let's begin with Mangalashram. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya naram shaiva narottamam devim saraswati vyasam tato jayam kirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayana, Shri, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashtapraya Shivabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhakti Bhakti Nashti. By regular attendance in the classes of Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is struggles into the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised by transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Mukam karoti vācālam pāṇam gayate yat vipāṇam vande Shri Guru Dīnataranam. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, the deliverer of fallen souls, whose mercy turns the government to its speakers and enables the lame to cross mountains. Manal Prabhu, the verses for the day, please. Um, 1:6:26. Yes, 1:6:26 to 38.
To 21.
21?
Yeah.
Okay.
O virtuous one, you have only seen my person, and this has just increased desire for me. Because the more you have for me, the more you will be free from all material desires. For the servants of the absolute truth, even for a few days, that ability to experiment fixed intelligence could be. Consequently, he goes on to become my associate with the transcendental world and pick up the present deplorable material.
Intelligence engaged in my devotion cannot be thwarted at any time, even at the time of creation, as well as at the time of annihilation. Your remembrance will continue by my mercy.
And that supreme authority personified by sound and unseen by eyes, with most wonderful, stopped speaking. Feeling a sense of gratitude, I offered my obeisance unto him, bowing my head.
Thus I began chanting the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are benediction. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious.
And so, Robert Yassini, in due course of time, I, who was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna and who therefore had no attachments, being completely freed from all material obtains, met with death as lightning and illumination occurs simultaneously.
As having been awarded a transcendental body befitting an association of the personality of Godhead, I quit the body made of five material elements, and thus all required predicted results of world karma stop.
A little louder, please.
When the personality of Godhead, Lord Narayana, lay down into the water of the vegetation, Brahma began to enter into him along with all created elements, and I also entered through his prison.
After 4,300,000,000 solar years, Brahma awoke to create again by the will of the Lord. All the rishis like Marshi, Tangiri, Atri, and so on were created from the transcendental body of the Lord. And I also appeared to all of them.
Since then, by the grace of the Almighty Vishnu, I traveled everywhere without restriction, both in the transcendental world and in the three divisions of the material world. This is because I am fixed in unfrequent devotional service of the Lord.
The Supreme
And thus,
and thus I travel constantly, singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord, vibrating this instrument called a veena, which is charged with transcendental sound and which was given to me by Lord Krishna.
The Supreme Lord Shri Vishnu, whose glories and activities are pleasing to me, at once appears on the seat of my heart, as if called for, as soon as I begin to chant his holy name.
It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring contact of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of reasons on a most suitable boat. The constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead.
If it's true that by practicing this strength of the sense by the yoga system on one can get relief from the disturbances of our society lust, but this not sufficient to give satisfaction the soul for this satisfaction is derived from devotional service in the personality of God.
Oh, Vasdev, you are free from all sins. Thus I explained my work and activities from sacralization, as you asked. All this will be conducive for your personal satisfaction also.
Sundar Goswami said, thus addressing Vyasdev, Srila Narada Muni quickly offering and while getting on his nice things you have to wonder his view.
All glory and success to Srila Narada Muni, because he glorifies the activities of the personality of Godhead. And so doing, he himself takes pleasure and also enlightens all the distressed souls of the universe.
Jai. That actually completes the chapter. So before Narada Muni started speaking, who was speaking? Vyasadeva. And what is the context? What were they conversing about?
Vyasdev was distressed even after compiling all the Vedas, and
Yeah, he was morose, and then he started meditating, and then we asked him to do it.
So we asked it.
And
Right.
then Arvind, we started
Talking about his
his
past lives. Yes. We're focusing on verse 26. Namanyanantasya hatatrapahapat. Wait, I forgot the meter. Vedeshu sarve. Yeah. Yes. Namanyanantasya hatatrapapatan. Guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran. Kamparyatam stushtamanagata spraha. Kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsaraha. Namaninantasya hitatrapapatan. Guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran. Kamparyatam stushtamanagata spraha. Kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsaraha. Namanyanantasya hitatrapapatan. Guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran. Kamparyatam stushtamanagata spraha. Kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsaraha. Namanyanantasya hitatrapapatan. Guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran. Kamparyatam stushtamanagata spraha. Kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsaraha. Namanyanantasya hitatrapapatan. Guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran. Kamparyatam stushtamanagata spraha. Kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsaraha. Namanyanantasya hitatrapapatan. Guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran. Kamparyatam stushtamanagata spraha. Kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsaraha. Word to word translation altogether, please. Namani, the holy name, fame, etc. Anantasya, of the unlimited. Hatatrapaha, being free from all formalities of the material world. Patan, by recitation, repeated reading, etc. Guhyani, mysterious. Padrani, all benedictory. Kritani, activities. Cha, and Smarat, constantly remembering. Ram, on the earth. Prayata, Tushtamana, fully satisfied. Kataspriha, completely free from material desires. Valentine, prediction, awaiting, Vimatsara, without being envious. Translation altogether. Thus I began chanting the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are benedictory. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious. Who'd like to read the purport? Nityananda Prabhu.
The life of a sincere devotee of the Lord is best explained in a nutshell by Narada Muni by his personal example. Such a devotee, after his initiation by the Lord or his bona fide representative, takes very seriously chanting of the glories of the Lord, traveling all over the world so that others may also hear the glories of the Lord. Such devotees are no desire for material gain. They are conducted by one single desire to go back to Godhead. This awaits them in due course on putting them to the body because they have the highest state of life, going back to Godhead. They are never envious of anyone, nor they are proud of being eligible to go back to Godhead. The only business is to chant and remember the holy name, fame, and cast that and running to personal capacity, distribute the message for others' welfare without more trouble.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Enjoy.
Hare Krishna. I'm sat here again. Please bless me and pray for me so that I may be able to speak something of value. Hare Krishna. Today's weather is clear, but look out for waterworks. If you know, you know. Um, I seem to have recovered from last time. And it's mainly by the mercy of the devotees, you know. There's nothing that we as souls can achieve by ourselves. Even if we're hankering for material gain, Vishesh Prabhu, stop laughing. Even if we're hankering for material gains, or even just sustaining our bodies, it is impossible to do so by ourselves, right? So, what if a soul is not interested at all in Krishna consciousness, God consciousness, or any kind of spirituality? Why does he still can't live by himself? What is it that he can't achieve by himself? Why is it difficult for him to sustain himself? Satisfaction. Elaborate, please.
That is something that soul cannot achieve on its own.
Yes, a soul cannot achieve satisfaction by itself. Anyone else? This is a very easy question. I was hoping for more. Yes, thank you, Nita.
The soul struggles to be independent because the individual soul is limited. We aren't in control of the things around us. So we're always dependent on something else.
That's very nice. The individual soul is limited
Yes.
and it cannot.
Because the individual soul is limited, we can't control things around us.
We can't control things around us, so we have to become dependent. Yes. Rajabalaka Prabhu.
The soul's eternal nature is so supreme. So if it doesn't achieve that, it's very unsatisfying.
Yes. But what we're talking about here is a bit higher on the pyramid of what a soul needs to survive in this material body.
Yes. There are 5 members actually. Soul is one of them. The only thing that soul can do is desire. So soul desires and then it is sanctioned by Paramatma based on the karmas that the soul has.
Yes.
And then the activity is being carried out with the help of the material nature. So soul has only a little part to do it. So soul can only desire and it's dependent on Paramatma, material nature, and the demigods controlling their senses to fulfill the desire.
Yes. All these are highly intellectual answers, which I was not looking for. The question was, why, even if we rule out all the Krishna consciousness and spiritual activities of the soul if the soul has no desire for any such thing? Why can't the soul still sustain itself? You know, why is it always dependent on something? This time around it was a rhetorical question. So what I'm trying to say is that we're all dependent, even if we rule out all the spiritual activities. You know, it is said that obviously without the association of a pure devotee, the seed of love for Godhead is not sown in our hearts. And it is, there's no hope without that, right? And so there's no beginning of bhakti. But even without that, we cannot survive on our own. We need air to live, water to live, which are all provided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even if we don't realize that, we think, oh, it's just available. But we still can't grow our food and eat, which means we're constantly dependent, dependent on our parents, dependent on our siblings, dependent on our partners, dependent on our teachers, politicians, prime minister, and even the non-living aspects of this world, right? And so a soul cannot do anything except desire, as Mona Prabhu mentioned, and which is very interesting because Narad Muni here, he is talking about how he felt, chanting and remembering the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. And what he did, he traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious. These are just three things he mentions: fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious. And to think that if we have all these things, maybe we can also just get liberated. But it is, but as soon as we, individually look at any of these, being unenvious, being humble, or being fully satisfied, we realize that it's next to impossible with the limited resources that we have by ourselves. And that is why we need help, right? In the purpose, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that such a devotee, after his initiation by the Lord or his bona fide spiritual representative, takes very seriously chanting of the glories and traveling all over the world so that others may also hear the glories of the Lord. And I hate how Narad Muni is portrayed elsewhere, like this. How would you say Narad Muni is described elsewhere?
Instigate.
Comedian.
Instigator.
Instigated. He's instigated. Chatterbox.
Juicy talks.
Juicy talks. There's people who say that. There's people who say that.
Narad Muni is he is presented as the center of to kind of spread the rumors around.
Wow. Offenses, and more offenses. Before I got connected to Krishna consciousness, all I knew about Narad Muni was Narayan, Narayan. But it is not far off. What does it mean? He's always chanting the names of the Lord, And so I had a good impression of Narad Muni. But then when I got connected to Krishna consciousness, when I took it upon myself to understand this process and do my sincere best to advance in this path, I realized that Narad Muni is such an exalted personality. He's so exalted, Elon Musk has nothing on him, And I say this mainly because Elon Musk wants to, go to Mars, build a civilization there, live there. But we all know that all that money is just down in the drain because it's next to impossible. Maybe in like 100,000 more years. But by then, the state of the world will be so bad. I don't even know if all the technical and technological advancements will count, even. And so Elon Musk has nothing on him. You know, Narad Muni, he can freely travel. In other purports that of the verses that we read, it is said that, you know, there's the higher planetary system, the middle planetary system, and the lower planetary system. And above that is Brahmaloka, and all of that is covered in the modes of material nature. And if we go above that, there's spiritual sky, where all the planets and everything is eternal, transcendental, right? Look alive, people. Look alive. Just a little bit. Thank you. Right. And so what I was trying to say is Narad Muni, you know, when I was a kid, I was very much attracted towards the whole topic of astronomy. I remember there would be a part in the newspaper about astronomical advancements and whatever new things are going on in the world. And I remember I would cut them out and I would paste it on my graph paper book, and I would be like, one day I'm going to be an astronaut. A lot of service for Earth. Without Jupiter, Earth could not have come into existence, or we could not have come into existence. Earth would still be probably be there, but life would be impossible. Why? Me and Nita, we were talking about Jupiter in BY. I don't even know how we came to talk about that. We were supposed to be talking about happiness. Um, but Jupiter, it protects because of the size. It has a bigger gravitational pull. It pulls all the asteroids towards itself, and so Earth is not hit. You know, it's like the bodyguard. And another thing is solar flares. Sun emits a lot of solar flares, and they're very bad for us. You know, we can cease to exist if there was a big solar wave. Actually, it was in the talks that if the solar waves get out of control, all the technology will be non-usable anymore. What did I even say? Will be non-usable after that. And so Jupiter also attracts most of the solar flares towards itself. And so Jupiter does a lot of service. What is Jupiter? Uh, Brihaspati? Brihaspati ki jai. Back to the topic of Narad Muni. Narad Muni, how did Narad Muni come to this point of chanting the holy name, or the chanting the glories and the fame of the Lord constantly, consistently? How did he come to that point?
He served the devotees.
He served the devotees. Be more specific, please. Raman
He
Prabhu.
honored the remnants of Bhaktivedanta.
He
Honored the remnants of Bhaktivedanta.
he honored the remnants of Bhaktivedanta and more. Nitai.
He listened attentively to lectures and talks that they had.
He listened attentively to the lectures and talks that they had.
He served for all Chaturmas.
He served for the whole Chaturmas. Sarthak Prabhu.
That's point of
Nice point. And so, if 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 you guys remember what you just said, that is a roadmap to what we're supposed to do to get to, hopefully one day, by the grace of the Lord and our spiritual masters and the Guru Parampara, to the level of how transcendently situated Narad Muni was in his nature, in his eternal spiritual nature, right? But the point is, to get to that point, it is very difficult. As we said, it all begins when a poor soul like me comes in contact of a devotee who is surrendered to the Lord, a devotee who is chanting constantly the names of the Lord, and that devotee gracefully, very mercifully instills into the poor soul, which is me and my heart, a little seedling of, if you sow the seed cannot grow by itself. The seed needs a lot of attention. What does the seed need? Water, sunlight, care, soil, it is eternal. And so it's not that like a material seed, it will die after giving it no care. It'll still stay there. You know? Are you falling asleep? Brigham? It's okay. I'll try better. I'll do better.
No, I'll listen to the whole speech.
And so after you provided all of that, you know, it starts to germinate, grow into a little plantling, you know, swaying in the wind. But then what happens? Have you ever tried how many here have tried gardening? Has tried. Oh, a lot of you guys. And so let's think of this. You get a seed, like maybe a sunflower, and you put it in the soil, and then you water, you give sunlight, you put fertilizers, you make the perfect environment, and it germinates, and a little plantling appears. What else appears?
Weeds.
Weeds. Did you sow the seeds for the weeds? Did you by mistake do that? Did you water them? Did you give access to sunlight? Well, you can't help it, really, can you? And did you really take care of that weedling to be able to germinate and become a weedling?
Not intentionally.
Not intentionally. And so what I was trying to get at is that when the seed of bhakti sprouts, there's a lot of other things that also sprout. You know, if the care given is not intentional, and if the care given is not is not focused on that plantling, other weeds will also grow. And if you know, the weeds, they do a lot of things to the little plantling that we're trying to cherish and nourish and one day grow into a treeling. Well, that was bad. The weeds, they not only take all the nutrients from the soil, it also takes the oxygen from the soil. Plants, whenever we hear of crops and farming, we know that eliminating all the weeds is very important, because if you don't do that, not only your crops will not yield as much product, but it's a possibility that it may, the
Insects and touching.
pardon?
Other insects also have one.
Insects also kind of appear and all of that. So the point with these weeds is that these weeds in this context of our bhakti sproutling is anarthas. And these anarthas, you unwillingly or unknowingly, unintentionally keep watering them. And if they grow big and bigger than our little plantling, it is very difficult for the plantling to survive, which means that weeds actually also, they grow like so quickly. It takes, I have tried, when I was a kid, I tried to put a lemon seed in the soil and if you know back, like lemon seeds or lemon trees are very hard to grow. And so I was watering and watering, and then one day this little plant appeared, and I was like, "Yay! That's my lemon tree," But then it appeared that it was some other wild weed, and my grandma was like, "Oh my God, you should just stop this." And so the point is that even after the little plant appeared, all the weeds, they covered it so badly that I couldn't even recognize that there was actually a lemon tree plantling in there. And so when my grandma said, "Well, you should uproot all the weeds so that your seed or your germinated, plant can grow." And so I removed all the weeds, and I couldn't even recognize that I pulled out my lemon tree, which is bad, right? Because it is so funny that the weeds that appear around the kind of seeds that you sow, they appear so similar to the kind of plant that you're trying to raise, which means that our anarthas are so well disguised that we cannot even, uncover the little plantling that has taken, birth in our hearts. And so these anarthas, looking so similar, and so subtle, it is very difficult to identify. One example is when I first came to the ashram, I was very new to Krishna consciousness. I was encouraged to do a lot of kirtan because Vishaka Prabhu, she told me that, you can sing. And I'm like, I can sing, that's right. And so I started doing a lot of kirtan, but then I realized that I wasn't really doing kirtan for Gopinath at all. And I realized that what I was unintentionally seeking was validation from other devotees when they would come and tell me, "Oh, Dino, you sang so well." I'd be like, "Didn't I?" And I would get so happy, and I'm like, "Oh, she likes me, and that's nice." And that's a form of weed. It took a long time. Let me say that I can't even be fully sure that I've fully uprooted that weed of seeking validation through devotional service. It is a very strong anartha that I personally have dealt with. What are other examples?
Example of anartha.
Yes, anarthas that are so well disguised that we feel that we're watering our little plantling, but honestly, the weeds are getting most of the nutrition.
Gospel.
Gossiping. Can you elaborate on how we might not realize that it's a weed?
You might think you were, I mean, I can say maybe like you might think you were trying to like help that person by being like, like in a lot of feedback or or talking behind the person.
Mm.
Or maybe this person should do it. But honestly, it's like you're mentally conditioning that you want to talk behind. If you don't like the person, you will talk back to the person behind it. So it's kind of you feel that there's no problem here. So
Yes.
just talk.
One very common sentence people say when they're trying to justify gossiping is that, "What? It's facts. I'm just saying the truth." It is not gossiping if it's the truth.
I think one example could be judgments, like think especially towards like other religions as well. When some you get caught up in thinking like, oh no, see, it's just that we have the highest philosophy, so that anyone who philosophically deviates, I should criticize them because that's just celebrating our philosophy. But then it's like that can very quickly become just another kind of pride and
Yes.
division.
It's a form of ego when
Yeah.
we think that, oh, I chose the highest path and I am the most intelligent. Why? Because I made the best choice there is, you know? Yes. And so the problem with all these weeds is that if you try to uproot these weeds, sometimes they're so deeply sown that even if you keep like uprooting them off of the ground, they just keep growing back again and again. Why? Because there's a little part of the root that, tore and it didn't come out, and the whole plant grows again. And our little poor plantling is just sad. And so the point is that it is very important for us to recognize these subtle anarthas. If it's big and flashy, the anartha, they can be very big and flashy. Me and Sarthak Prabhu, we were talking a while ago, and I think he said or I said, I don't even remember, but someone said that when someone has a certain anartha, except themselves, everyone else can see that they have that. And so sometimes anartha can be very big and flashy, and sometimes they can hide themselves, put a mask. So it is very important to identify them. What are some ways to identify them? We're running out of time, so I will just move on with what I was trying to say. One of the ways is to have close associates, to have close friends who know you from inside out, and they can tell you. Like this one time, someone told me, "Oh, you're very irresponsible." and I was so offended. And then 2 weeks went by, and I was like, you know what? I am very responsible. Maybe I should do something about it. Then someone told me, "Oh, you're very stubborn," and I'm like, me, I'm a people pleaser, for Lord's sake, you know. I cannot be stubborn. If anything, I will, you know, leave whatever I believe in and accept what you have to say. And then they made me realize that no, actually, I am very stubborn. And these are things that I wasn't even aware existed in myself. And it was, and um, and so the point is, having close friends, associates, is very important. You know, develop that friendship, develop that relationship. Be open up your heart to receiving that friendship, and make some efforts by yourself also to form that friendship if you don't have one. I'm saying that because that's something that I've been trying to do. Another way you can do is by reading examples from the scriptures. Narada Muni. We read about Narada Muni and we understand that how did how did Narada Muni come to the point of getting a transcendental body or being liberated? Well, he's already a liberated soul. In further purpose, it is written that when the day of Brahma ends and night begins, uh, annihilation happens, right? And everything is
Vishnu pictures. Vishnu,
louder, confident.
Vishnu breathes.
Vishnu breathes in,
Yeah.
and takes everything in. So everything is dissolution happens. And so it is said that every time again Brahma starts creating, all the rishis and Narad Muni himself, they all appeared, you know. But Narad Muni is not bound like the rishis are bound, because the rishis, although they're very elevated in their own science, they're unable to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I understand. And so a few other things that I was trying to say is that having close associates, close friends, reading examples from the Shastra, chanting very sincerely, it can help bring those anarthas to light. Because without that sincerity, it just takes a long while. You go years after years thinking that I'm making advancement, but then subtly not much is happening. The little plantling is being suffocated by all the other weedlings. And so that is there. But then also, it is important for us to recognize the importance of self care. Moon goes through phases, doesn't it? And it affects its gravitational pull and everything else. Why does moon go through phases? No, 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 no. This is a very like science question. Not yeah, science question. Yes. The Earth's shadow blocks a portion of the moon. And so the point is that sometimes circumstances arise in our life such that it is impossible for us to give our 100%. And so we think it's okay, I'll just take the day off. You know? And similar uh idea. Like honestly, I got this from gym bros on Instagram. They're like, "Oh, you know, when you feel tired, you're like, I won't be able to give my 100%, so I should just not go to the gym." But go to the gym. Give your 80% if that's all you can give. Give your 50% if that's all you can give. Give your 20%, give your 1%, 0.1%, 0.00001% if you can. Because all of these efforts are very well recognized by the Paramatma in your heart, right? And your best is the best. You know, there is no comparison except what you can give and what you're holding back when it comes to Krishna, right? And you can fool the world, but how can you fool Krishna? And so it's okay to go through phases in our life, but as long as we bounce back, as long as we come to that point of the full moon night, you know, we have to keep striving. We have to keep going. Krishna says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. That if satatam kirtayantamam, chant, if you keep chanting my name, you know, if you keep chanting my glories, sincerely, with love, I will give you the knowledge by which you can come to me. And we already have the knowledge in the books, right? But it's not so simple, is it? We can't really apply everything from the book and think that it's going to help us, right? Vishaka Prabhu uses this example of a lot about, getting sick and then going to the pharmacist and just, telling him, oh, I have all the medicines here. I'm going to choose what I need because I know everything is in here to save me from my misery. But then you die. Um, please don't die. And so that is why a pharmacist is very important. Having mentors, having a guru, having siksha gurus, it is very important to recognize the need for mentorship in our life. Because, like, through my personal observation, we tend to think that we know everything, we have the answers to all of our problems, but sometimes we don't even recognize our problems. I when I was little, I got into an accident and I thought that I broke my pinky. And so I go to the doctor, the x-ray shows up and it's like, oh, the pinky is not even broken, but I broke my elbow. And so I was wrong at diagnosing my problems. So more often than not, we're unable to diagnose ourselves of the misery and the sickness that we're going through unless we have a very qualified doctor. So it is very important to take shelter. Take shelter of a Siksha Guru, take shelter of a Diksha Guru, take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Why not? And if we continue on this path, which has no loss and no diminution, what will happen? One day, we can all get our space jackets. Actually, we don't even need a space jacket. We can just become a transcendental spaceman. If you wish to chant the glories of the Lord unconditionally, consistently, without stopping, you can do so. You want to go do Sankirtan in hell? You can do that. Narad Muni probably is doing that, if you want to go back to Godhead, go back to Godhead. But one foolproof way of solidifying our chances to get to that level is by doing what? Chanting, individual items, chanting, kirtan, eating prasad, Bhagavatam reading, hearing, more, dancing. What else? Shout out some things, please. Deity worship. And what happens? What happens when you feel low? What happens when you feel down? You say, "Oh Lord Krishna, please, okay, oh Lord Krishna, please protect me and maintain me. Oh Lord Rama, descendant of King Raghu, please protect me. Oh Krishna, oh Keshava, oh killer of the Keshi demon, please maintain me." And so we sing, Krishna, 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 hey, Krishna, 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 hey. Krishna, 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 Raksha Ma. Krishna, 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 Pahima. Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava Rakshama. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava Padina. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava Padina. On the count of three, everyone will say Krishna. 1, 2, 3. Krishna! Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki.